So far, so good. Now, tonight is the night that everyone has been waiting for. And you mentioned campaigning, and with campaigning comes all of those signs we've seen around the county. To give you an idea, this piece of fence and a few feet of grass are the only things that are separating Coggins' backyard to Back Beach Road. I'm going to give you an example of how much water is here. This is my rain boot. Just from walking 100 feet, that's how much water at one point was coming down in the area. The nonprofit organization posted on their Facebook that they had 73 of these puppies up for adoption, and they tell me that the outpour from the community and the interest in adopting these dogs has been tremendous. And has served as the superintendent of the Jackson County school system for 3.5 years. He says in his time served, he's seen about 4 bus accidents, but none as bad as this one. But if you still need to register to vote or would like to change your party affiliation, you do need to come on down here. Now, like I said, the doors will close in about 2 hours, and I myself actually need to register to vote, so I'm going to wrap it up and send it back to you guys and head on in there. Nisa, Caitlin, Addison, Lila, and Sadie, and what these girls are doing is making cards for Nevaeh. Now, that is the little girl who was tragically burned up in Jackson County at that church camp. I heard you guys just talking about this only being a Category 1 hurricane. Well, if this is what a Category 1 hurricane is, I'm from Rhode Island. I can't even imagine what a Category 5 hurricane is. Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, 41 patients were identified in those selfie pictures.
Of the 41, 3 were consensual and 2 have died since the photos were taken.
Election day is less than a week away, and with all the hype surrounding the national elections as well as some local elections right here in Bay County, we wanted to know what was being taught in the classroom and what the students are doing with that knowledge. More than 650 people packed the MLK Recreation Center this morning to listen to Bill Clinton speak on behalf of his wife Hillary. With just 17 days until the election, we asked people why they're here. The city of Springfield's contract is up with Waste Pro come November. Whether they'll re-sign with Waste Pro is still up in the air. Golf World officials say something as simple as picking up trash could be the difference between life and death for a sea animal. Nisa, just moments ago, the Panama City Police Department just wrapped up their investigation here on the 700 block of 8th Street on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Now, they say this all started around 2 p.m. this afternoon when a stolen van was spotted on Redwood Avenue. Goons, ghosts, goblins, and gremlins coming soon to a neighborhood near you October 31st. But this year, there's one costume you may want to rethink. Clowns. For the next 180 days, more than 25,000 Bay District school students will travel by bus, by foot, or by car. Bay District school officials say safety is their #1 concern. He decided to make the emergency landing. Now, 46 passengers were on board, and I'm told everyone was off of the plane safe. Alan Laird says he's been overwhelmed with the community support since the fire happened Tuesday night. I am still alive, but if I wasn't at work, I'm not too sure about that. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to have any chocolate, but I did just have a shrimp and grits. The survival kits Parker Walsingham gave them are not only delicious, but they also prove true to the name survival. Here on St. George Island, this boat is not supposed to be here. And this water, well, it's not either. And although many residents' property may look different, the message is the same. It's time to clean up. But she isn't sure how that tombstone got here. So the question still remains if something or somebody is buried underneath. And most importantly, have bug spray on you at all times. In Panama City Beach, Samantha Reed, News Channel 7. You drink.
I'd work from 7 in the morning till 3 in the evening.
You drive.
What if I'd have been sitting here?
You lose.
All she could say is, boy, I really screwed up this time. I really screwed up.
And so does everyone else.
It's the first time that I've wanted to sit down and cry. I'm not that type of person. I don't show my emotions.
Since 2005, Tommy Coggins has spent every day working on a memorial garden he planted in honor of his grandparents, mom, and son that were taken too soon.
It was something they wanted to do in their life, and they never got a chance to do it.
But early Halloween morning, a woman under the influence ruined everything he's worked so hard on when her car veered off Back Beach Road, crashing through his fence and into his greenhouse.
If I hadn't have built all this up like I did, that car might have ended up in my house.
Coggins says accidents like these are familiar to residents in his neighborhood. Only a fence separates them from the busy road.
You can take this stuff and break it in your hand, you know? If they would do what they've done to other cities and put up concrete sound barriers.
Along with the FDOT's back beach widening study that's currently in the works, creating barriers is something officials say they've looked into.
If you have a vehicle hit a barrier during a crash, that will send that vehicle back into traffic, creating a larger crash and a more deadly crash.
The FDOT says the situation is unfortunate, and they plan on working with Coggins to find a solution.
US 98 is a major artery when it comes to Northwest Florida.
Living behind that artery has left one man with a broken heart.
This don't mean nothing to nobody else but me. You just can't put a dollar price on it.
A lot of people don't even know my name. They know me as a cake man. I mean, a lot of people, that's what they call me. They say, here comes a cake man.
This is James Brooks. Besides the fact this 68-year-old's personality is the sweetest, what he's been whipping up in the kitchen since 1991 is just as addicting.
I've never sold a cake or a pie. Now, I gave them to fundraisers that sold them, but I've never sold one. I've always given them away.
Last year alone, James baked 1,587 cakes for people. He says he's not worried about spending the dough. All of the cost of ingredients adds up. The batch he's working on now.
They're going to a friend of mine over at Alta going to the Wildcat Den. He's got cancer, and we're having a fundraiser for him Saturday.
There's no doubt James is one of the power company's best customers. On average, he bakes 2 cakes every hour, 7 days a week.
That gets that one ready for the oven. When I have a big order, I'll start about 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and then I'll cook all day, and sometimes I go till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
James loves making people happy with his cakes, but there's another reason he does it. His wife, Jeannie, passed away a few years ago. She was his #1 fan and taste tester, and right before she died, he was working on perfecting her favorite coconut cake, which bears her name.
I still miss my wife, of course. She's been deceased 4 years, January 13th, and it keeps me busy, keeps me occupied.
James says he's never given out his recipe, but is willing to bake a cake for anyone who will eat it.
I hope it'll taste good.
If you're ever looking for him, he says you can find him in his kitchen near Alpha, baking away until he can once again enjoy a slice in heaven with his wife.
The good Lord willing, till I get right on up in age to where I can't do it anymore. I'm going to continue doing it as long as I can, as long as I can afford it, that is. So.
In Alpha, Samantha Reed, News Channel 7.